In this week's Design to Move, we're going to center our focus on the Levator Scapulae muscle. As its name reveals, it's primarily responsible for shoulder blade elevation or otherwise shrugging your shoulders up. That's why it's often referred to as your stress muscle, as we use this muscle when we're either anxious or nervous. It also flexes your neck side to side when your shoulders are set in a fixed position. Altered shoulder mechanics and poor posture can lead this muscle to become overly tight and inflexible. This in turn can contribute to neck pain and shoulder instability. Today we'll show you how to lengthen the levator scap and activate the muscles which stabilize the shoulders and arms. Let's get after it. This is a self-administered fascial release technique. Using a lacrosse ball, initiate the release by pinning the ball between a wall and the top internal ridge of your shoulder blade. Brace into it by leveraging your body weight. Try to find the most sensitive spot just higher to the scapular ridge, which we'll identify as a trigger point. Hold the ball on this sensitive spot for 30 seconds or until a release is felt. Make sure that you're standing in a neutral posture with your head and shoulders over your hips. Begin the active release by rolling the ball just a little higher to the trigger point, then nod your head down to the opposite side as if you're looking at your opposite pocket. This will bind down the connective tissue as you lengthen the muscle through it. This is called a pin and stretch technique. Make sure to breathe out as you lengthen the muscle and breathe in as you return to a neutral head position. Repeat several times. Begin the static stretch by reaching your arm down and behind you with your palm facing out. This will stabilize and fix the shoulder blade on the affected side. Next, tilt your head down, drawing your chin towards the front of the neck. Use the weight of your head to increase the stretch. From there, laterally tilt your head to the opposite side of the body. Make sure to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Using the opposite hand, grasp the head and gently assist the stretch by emphasizing the line of pull to the opposite side of the body. Make sure to use gentle pressure and look for a slow release on every breath out. Hold the position and then release. Start in a quadruped or 4-point position. Your braced arm should be slightly elevated approximately 2 to 4 inches off the ground to give clearance for your other shoulder to hang and protract and retract. Keep the neck and hips in a neutral position. Using a small hand weight on the affected side, slowly allow your shoulder blade to glide or abduct around the rib cage, bringing it to a protracted position to a count of 4. The arm will rotate slightly internally. At the bottom of the movement, initiate the return by pulling the bottom to middle edge of your shoulder blade back towards the spine to a count of 2. Make sure not to pull the shoulder back so far that the shoulder begins to shrug, overusing the upper trap muscles. Repeat several times. In a side-lying position, support your head so it remains in a neutral position. Keep your chin tucked. Also, tuck the knees in to maintain a hollow body position and keep your abdominals engaged the whole time. With a small hand weight, lift your arm adjacent to the hip and elevate the arm just over the height of the hip. You're trying to keep the scapula engaged with the rib cage the whole time. Lift the arm towards the head, trying to keep it parallel to the floor. Only lift the arm higher if you're able to engage the lower mid-trap muscles around the lower portion of your scapula without recruiting the upper trap muscles around the neck and shoulder. Lift the arm to a 2 count up and 2 count back. Breathe in as you lift the weight upwards. If the weight is so great that you can't lift it without shrugging, just drop the weight down and use your arm, progressing it over time. Begin by anchoring a band to a fixed surface at roughly the height of your hip. Step back far enough that there will be tension in the band through the entire movement. Step forward into a lunge position on the opposite side of the body from the arm holding the band. As the lead hip flexes, extend the opposite arm, allowing the shoulder to slightly protract. Make sure not to let the shoulder shrug. Push through the heel, bringing the lead leg into hip extension while simultaneously pulling the opposite arm behind you. Make sure to initiate the pull by retracting through the scapula and only bring the elbow back to the rib line at the top of the movement. Plant the heel down and flex the glute on the working leg at the top to establish a firm connection between the pulling arm and the working leg. Using an active release or pin and stretch technique will help the levator scap to return to its natural length and function. Shortened and adaptively tight levators are commonly seen in people with upper body movement distortions like forward head tilt or upper cross syndrome. Guiding your head down and to the side takes the muscle through its full stretch cycle. Drawing the arm on the same side of the body across the torso will also serve to enhance the active release. While most people believe that the upper trap is responsible for the tightness in the neck and shoulder region, it's actually the levator scapula that's the culprit. It becomes adaptively shortened due to overly mobile shoulder blades, typically associated with excess internal rotation of the arms. Addressing the length in these muscles through active release and static stretching will help to restore the mechanics of the shoulder blade back to a neutral position. Because internally rotated shoulders assist in the development of downwardly spiraled and protracted shoulder blades, we want to engage and activate the muscles responsible for completing the opposite action, in this case, the rhomboids. The movement demonstrated today highlights the development of this rhomboid muscle. We use this muscle to initially stabilize the shoulder joint before pulling the arm back, as seen in rowing or pulling movements. Underdeveloped rhomboids can lead to a destabilization of the shoulder blade and an adaptively shortened levator scapula muscle. The lower trap muscle is a commonly weak muscle in those who have shoulder issues. Understanding how to distinguish between the activation and use of the lower and mid traps as opposed to the upper trap will help to create greater stability and control around your cervical spine and shoulder girdle. This movement is used to increase the intermuscular coordination of the posterior oblique sling. This chain of muscles is responsible for moving the body and connecting movement between the hip and opposite shoulder. Understanding how to coordinate the ability to protract and retract the shoulder blade in concert with the flexion and extension of the hip is critical in maintaining proper form and function during activities like walking or running.